So today I'm going to be working on my Inktober drawing for the day. I'm really not using any prompts, so I'm just going to be drawing whatever it is that comes to mind right now. And I also am tight on time, so I am going to try to work on this as quickly as possible. So in order to do that, one of the things that I do is I'll find a larger marker. So I have this Sharpie, and I haven't been using it much because it's kind of hard for me to figure out what to do with it. It has this brush tip on the end, and it's wonderful for depositing a whole lot of the ink. And you'll see that on this piece of paper I already put some black around the edge. And so I'm going to be using this to do a little bit of neurographic art. I don't do that very often, but I think just because today I want to save time a little, still draw, but not spend too much time on it today. So I'm going to do that, and hopefully you can follow along and see if you can have a hand at this and see what you can create. So I'm going to be using my permanent marker here, and let me move this out of the way so I don't get ink on it. And let's see, I guess I'm just going to draw some curves. Let's see what happens. I don't really know how much of this I'll do, but I'll try my best to keep it manageable. I don't really know if it's too much or too little. So I think I want to stop there. I got a little bit of the ink on my cutting mat, but that probably shouldn't be a problem. Let me see if any of it will come up. No, it should be fine. So let's see here. I'm going to put this back here just because sometimes for me having that grid behind it can be a little distracting. So let's see here. I guess that the next thing for neurographic art is to change these little corners. So now I'm just using an ultra fine point. Actually, let me try this because this is a double-ended marker and I've never used the back of this, mostly just because it's hard to take the lid off. So it does have a fine point tip on the back of it. Let's see if it works. Seems to work just fine. This marker is pretty new though, so it's understandable that it should work. Otherwise that would be silly. Okay, so all I'm really doing right now is I'm coming in anywhere where there's an intersection of lines. And I'm just adding this ink here just to smooth out the connection. And I didn't plan any of the lines. I just went right in and created them. So one thing that I am actually going to do here is, this is my preference, is to select a few spots that will simply be black. Like I'm just not going to worry about putting any patterns or anything in them. So I think those are generally going to be around the outside for me. So let's say this one, probably this little one. So a few that might be kind of troublesome to color, I'm going to just fill them in with black. So this one, but these little ones here. So I'm just kind of rotating it, just seeing where I don't want. I guess I just don't want to have to fill them in with any patterns today. I still want to play around with it, but like I said, I don't have as much time today to do this, so I just want to just kind of play around a little bit and not get too stressed out trying to figure out what to do. So that's pretty good so far. I'm going to do this one here. This marker's pretty good too. I'm just afraid of how much ink it deposits. It's a lot. And I wonder just how it's going to do over time. That'll be interesting to know. It came in a 2-pack. So there were two of them. So once this guy's gone, I will still have another one to play around with. But so far it looks pretty nice. Okay, so those are black. I'm gonna stop for now. If I find any more later that I want to do that too, I'll do that. So I think I'm just going to jump in now and actually start making some patterns. Let's see here. So what kind of things can I add in here? I think I'm going to do a lot of contour lines. I think that's what I'm feeling today. So these are contour lines. So I'm just going to make these curvy lines, and they just make it look like in there this is bulging. I think I like that. I'm going to go with that. So let me try that over here. I'm just going to soften these little corners. And I think from here to here. And then I'm going to add contour lines. So here it is. It's curving. And it's just going to head out until I meet a line, and then I just continue in the remaining space. So let me zoom in just a little so you can see that better. So here's my space. I'm comfortable making my curves this way, so I'm just going to turn it around. And these contour lines are just going to go corner to corner, and they're just going to keep bulging. Until I get to the edge. So I think I like that. That's a lot of fun. So I'm just going to keep doing that in all the spaces. I'm not going to worry about finding a ton of patterns. So over here, let's see. I'm going to do the contours, but they're going to be this way because this is such a thin space. There we go. So how about here? I'm going to go from here to here. And I think because I'm doing this, I don't really have to worry about those little corners. I'll get to them when I get there. So you'll see right here. When I get here, I just add ink in there. I'm not comfortable doing the lines this way, but I'm just going to keep going just so that I don't keep rotating the drawing. Okay, and then just ink in the corner, and I think I'm just going to keep going that way. I think I like this. So here, I'm going to turn it around. I don't know if any of you are like this. There's just a feeling to making curves in a certain direction. It just doesn't feel right. So since I am doing this for enjoyment, I might as well just turn it around and enjoy myself. Okay. That looks pretty nice so far. I'm really liking that. So I'm just going to keep going through here and adding all these little curves. I think that's probably something that a lot of us forget when we're sitting down and we're trying to create something. We start thinking that we're going to create this big masterpiece, and we stress out about not making exactly what it is that we're thinking of, that it has to come out beautiful, it has to come out perfect. And I know for a lot of us it can stop us. So today I am very much trying to practice not being that way and just accepting it, just keeping it simple, and just enjoying it. It doesn't have to be complicated. I don't think I'll even have time to do too much shading today. Maybe none at all. I just know I have other things that I really need to take care of today. So I'm just taking a few minutes for myself and just trying to get something done. And thankfully, this is working up pretty quickly. So just giving myself some time to exercise my doodling skills. The triangle's hard. Let's see, how would I fill a triangle? I think I'm just gonna pretend there's a point right here. Just make the curves this way. I think I'm also going to find a few where I'm going to draw my lines even tighter. And by drawing them tighter, it's going to make that space look darker. So let's choose, how about this strange one right here? I'm going to make very tight lines. So here are, or I'm going to try to at least. I don't know if I'm going to accomplish that, but. And when they're tight like that, it creates darker lines. And then over here, let's open it up a little and then closer. So I think this might be how I keep my mind busy, is by changing up the closeness of the lines. Kind of spreading them apart and then making them closer together. That's pretty good. Okay, this one's going to be a little weird. So like that maybe. Okay, so that should work out. Sometimes the spaces are just a little odd. Just have to try my best. So how about this one here? And something that I don't say often is it's actually a little awkward even just recording because of where my camera's at. I have to try to hold my pen much farther away. Let's say if I'm not recording, I generally hold my pen pretty close to the bottom. But if you'll notice, if you watch me draw right here, my hands are in the way. So I have to consciously hold it back here, about an inch back at least. And so I'm inadvertently learning to draw differently because I have to hold the pen differently now. So I really am doing my best. I'm trying to keep my fingers out of the way. I know it. Whenever I watch videos of other people who are making just such beautiful things and then I can't see, I get so frustrated. It's because I really, really want to see what they're making, and there's something in the way. I always think it's funny because when that happens, I start leaning and I'm trying to see as if somehow me leaning is gonna let me glimpse whatever's on the other side of their fingers. It doesn't work that way, but I guess the mind the mind tries. Okay, so this is looking pretty good so far. Get rid of those little corners. Okay, so this is what is here right now. This is what I've got. It's it's filling up nicely. I'm trying to see if there's anything that I want to change up since I'm about halfway or so done with the segments. I don't think I will. I think I'm just going to play around with making some of these darker when I get to them. So I'm just going to continue here and hope for the best. How about this way? Okay, yeah. I'll turn it around. I have a lot more triangles available here than I thought I did. I can already tell that I wish I could do some stippling in here, but stippling is just so time consuming. I'm not going to be doing that today. Maybe in the next drawing. I'll see if I have time for the next one. I really, really do love to do stippling. It is the most tedious thing that one can do in a drawing, but it just the results are so good. I follow some artists on Instagram whose work is entirely in stippling, and they'll make these enormous drawings, and I cannot believe they're using the tiniest pens to do that. It's insane, but very admirable, of course. Okay. So I'm just trying to fill in lines in these little spaces a little bit tight just to kind of make it look darker than the other spaces. I like it better when there's more variation, I think personally. So that is what I'm attempting to do. So like let's say this one right here, I'm going to make the lines again tighter if I can. Let's see if I can do that. I think personally, even if I'm just doing a single pattern, I just don't like it when everything looks like it's too uniform. Just don't like it. So I'm going to try to see if I can find a way to remove that uniformity throughout. It's a little bit better. Not too much darker, but I think that's a good start. So I think, how about I try it here? Let's see if I can get these closer. The thing is that when they get closer, they start getting a little messier, at least for me. Okay, I think that's a little darker. That's better. Then I'm going to keep this one kind of simple here. I know that for myself, it's just so important to not overthink things. I have a terrible habit of kind of sitting here and just daydreaming a little too much about what I want my next drawing to look like. And sometimes that benefits me. I'll admit that's it's not entirely a bad thing. Sometimes it's good. But it can, just like anything else, any good thing can turn bad. And so sometimes I will just think about my next drawing for just a little bit too long instead of just doing it. Just gonna color this one. So today I'm having none of that. I'm just filling in, being a little messy, just letting it happen. Let's see. Oh, this one's gonna be a little awkward. How about, I think I wanna go this way. Oh, I've committed. So let me add my contours in. This should be fine. I think pretty much that's the great thing about all of this is that no matter which direction you draw the contours in, it just kind of falls into place because they're curved. They'll fit anywhere. Okay, so that's good. Just keep going. Okay, I have a handful over here. How about, let's go this way. I'm trying to change the direction in which these go because these are already going this way. I want this one to go the other way. And I'm having it go into that corner. Let's see how that looks. Might not be too bad. It's not too bad. So I think one thing that I am going to start doing with a few of these is rather than them being little bulges this way, I'm going to go, let me show you here on this long one. I'm going to do this as shaped like that. So they're still bulging, but the shape is a little more like it's twisting. I think just I inevitably get bored if I really do just use a single pattern apparently. So I think I'm going to put a few of these throughout just to add to the interest. Okay. There's that one. I think I'm going to put one here that's the other way. So all these little bulges. I think I'm starting to get a little messy here. That's okay though. I'm pretty happy with this marker though, but I'm only using it because this is a piece of paper that I'd already printed something on. So it's scrap paper, and I'm not really worried about what's happening behind there. I really wouldn't use this inside of my journal. There aren't very many papers that can handle this kind of ink. Although in the past when I used to use Sharpies, I would just use one side of the page, I suppose. And then I would just keep a scrap piece of paper behind it just to make sure it wouldn't bleed through and get the other pages dirty. So that's usually an easy fix. I think just because it's so satisfying using these markers, it's worth it to do that kind of thing. Okay, so there's that one. I'm gonna take care of this little triangle here. So that's it. Let's see. How about this one right here? Pretty big one. It's not too bad. So I'm actually getting pretty close to almost finishing here. At least in my mind, I think I'm almost done. There are a handful over on the other side, but I'm already thinking of a few that I'm just going to fill in with black. So we'll see how that turns out. If if you've seen any of my other videos, you've probably seen that that's something that I tend to do is I reach a point where I create this really big I think I would call it negative space, but it might not be. I just feel of it as like these little voids in the drawing, and I really like to add those in because it helps really balance everything out. It kind of adds weight to that side of the drawing, and it just gives it so much more interest. So like let's say here, I'm gonna make this little spot kind of dark. So I almost made it entirely black, not quite. Let me finish this one here before I move on. I get distracted so much. But I suppose that's the fun part of it. There's no need to feel shame over anything like that. So I'm here. I wonder. This is a pretty long triangle. I wonder if I should try making something interesting there. I'm just going to do the usual. I'm going to come right into this corner. So what I mean is that I think I want all these lines to really converge in there and make it really dark right there. So I'm going to be a little more careful. So as these lines meet up right there, it's going to make it look pretty dark. So let's try right here. Oops. It's hard once I have to show a little more control over the lines, it gets pretty difficult. So pretty good. Okay, that's pretty good. I'll take that. So it actually does look a bit dark there. That's not too bad. Let's try about these. I'm gonna make these pretty dark just by doing a lot of lines. And this one, how about I put it right here in the middle? Why not? I'm just gonna follow those contours all the way to the edge there. And I'm also thinking that once I'm done, I'm going to still look at it one more time and just see if there's anything else that it could benefit from, because I'm really not sure right now. I'm just going with it. I'm just following the procedure, I suppose. This is what I decided I was going to do, and this is what I'm going to do. And I think that even if I don't particularly like the result, it's okay because now I know. But I'm hoping that there's going to be something here that I will like. In the meantime, it's just important to put in the work. I know for sure that there were some years where I didn't draw and I really did get rusty. I know that some people, maybe to some other people, they can just jump right back in and enjoy doing this again. And it feels like riding a bicycle, I suppose, but it really wasn't to me. I lost touch. So I think my goal currently is to just do this most days, if not every day, even if it's just a little bit, just so that I can continue to keep that muscle memory and kind of not lose touch of what I'm doing here. And I am much better today, so that's that's good. At least my control of the lines much better. I have better control. I'm more confident, I suppose. There's a lot more confidence because I know now where the lines look good to me. And because I have that knowledge now, I can be a little more fearless when it comes to experimenting because I already have these kind of ideas in my mind of what I think results in a good composition or in just like an appealing look. So I just got these right here and a couple here and that should be it. So getting pretty close. I think I'm going to do this one this way. So right here, I'm gonna do a few the other way. Still, I just have to turn it around. I don't know why. It's probably part of that whole muscle memory thing. Maybe it's just the way that the hand kind of curves this way makes it so much easier to just draw the lines that way. So I'm gonna finish this one. I think there are a few here that I want to be really dark. I'm not sure which ones though. I'll start with this one right here just because I'm not sure. I just know that I want these to be darker. So let's see if I can do this here. If I really need to, I'm probably going to come back with an ink wash and see if I can achieve that look using that. For now, it's just going to be this marker. So this one's a little bit more like a curl, curling around. Okay, so let's see how that looks so far. I think I'm close to finishing it up. I still feel that there are some spaces that I would like to have darker, but I don't know which ones. I think I'm just going to finish these up for now just to see it. Okay, so there's that one. And how about this one? Let me go this way. I think just because I really, really want to have that that difference with the colors or the shading at least, I am going to grab my pen that has the ink wash, and I'm going to come through and add some in a few places just because it's probably going to bother me if I don't take care of that right now. So be it. So I think I'm just going to add some lines right here real quick. So I'm being messy because I'm wanting these to be darker, so I'm just adding in the lines really, really quickly. If I focus too much on making the lines perfect, that's where it can't get that effect that I wanted. So right here, and this one I'm going to do just normal. Okay, so I have them all filled in now. So this looks pretty interesting. It's not too bad. It almost looks like a bunch of yarn and then some like heavy rope on top of it, like pressing down on it. Oh, the cap's over here. So let's see. Let me see really quickly what happens if I add some ink wash. So some people have asked, and I'm gonna try to make sure to always mention it whenever I use it in a video. So what this is one of those watercolor pens, and you can refill it. And I added, I don't even know anymore because I kind of just keep refilling 20 to 30 drops of ink, and I'll show you the ink that I use. Here it is. Okay. So this one actually is non-waterproof, but even if it's waterproof, don't worry about it. It's just ink. There's this kind or something like this. So about 20 to 30 drops. I've been meaning to use this one. I have a set of these pearlescent inks and they're very, very beautiful. So I'm actually wondering what these would look like if I did a wash out of them. Not today though. I don't have that prepped. But that's what I have here. And so it's some drops of ink, which is actually very little. It only fills like the bottom right here. And then the rest is water. Shake it up and you're ready to go. And I'll show you what that looks like right here. So right here, let's add, and it does look much darker at first because it's wet. So as with so many other wet media, this does change. And so I'm just going around adding it. And what I do also when I have the time is I'll add multiple layers of this and I can get some spaces to look even darker just from having added a couple of layers here and there. So this effect will soften up really nicely once it dries up and it'll look even better, I think. And then I can just go back in later if I want to and add even darker spots if I really want them. That's all that this is. It's an ink wash. From my understanding, this is a pretty traditional use of ink, is kind of watering it down this way to create the shading. I think it's just more of a current thing to use a pencil just because it's really easy to carry a pencil around. And it's not easy to carry around ink, so because it's so easy now to just have one of these refillable pens and just kind of put that in there, it's not so bad. Now, I think that you can buy some like these that are pre-filled, and you're welcome to try those. I have never tried them though, so this is all that I know. What you can also do is if you have a little like a little jar or bottle, let's say I've got one right here. Sometimes you might come across a little jar like this, and you might make your mix in there and just dip a brush in there and use it. So just like some regular watercolor. Should be able to use it with just a regular brush. Maybe a little tiny food container that you washed out and used. It's good to reuse old things. So I think that does look pretty good. It's really helping it have more depth. I like that. So you see I'm just adding it to the edges, and for the little ones I'm just entirely filling it. Just really helps bring out some more of that dimension. Not so flat anymore. Okay, so I think that's about as far as I can go for today, and I was able to show you some of the shading here. But for now, I'm kind of running out of time, so I'm going to leave it at that right now. And if I am able to come back to it and do some more of the shading, then I will show it to you right here so that you can see it. I'll just attach it to the end of this, but this was it for today. Sometimes it goes by a little more hurriedly, sometimes I have more time. And either way, it is good. It's good to just have a little time to just draw and just not think about other things. So this was it for today. A little bit of a kind of a neurographic art just to see what happens. And I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you were able to draw along. Maybe you drew something else, or maybe you drew this as well. I'm just hoping you enjoy yourself. So thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day.